Welcome to this week's Caballerian Philosophy podcast. Today we're going to talk about the balanced name recommendation, what it is, what's inside it, how we prepare it, and how you use it after we've done our work. As we've mentioned in our previous videos, the balanced name recommendation will provide you a varied selection of first names and last names, which are all balanced to your inner potential, which is determined from your date of birth. And so we have a list of first names, a list of surnames, last names, depending on what you have given us in terms of direction. They can have cultural backgrounds to them, but in every case, they are mathematically balanced to your inner potential. And each first name can be matched with any last name and vice versa. So you really have perhaps 30 to 50 first names, 30 to 50 last names. So you have 2,000, 3,000 combinations of first and last names. So there's many choices to pick from, and we'll still work with you to perhaps fine tune it so you can find the name that you're happy with, that feels like it's the name that you're going to use from now on. So a couple points in the balanced name recommendation we like to cover is, first of all, the names are spelled to create that balance using the mathematical principle that the Caballerian philosophy has been studying for over 80 years. And so in some cases, the spellings we have created are unique and the names are unconventional. And so it's just something that you should know, that sometimes we can adjust your spelling. Sometimes the names are quite common, but other ones you might think of as a little bit unusual at first glance. And so we realize that it takes a little bit of time to sort of, go through this selection process. And we've come up with a few guidelines which others in the past have found helpful. And we'd really encourage you, when you get your balanced name recommendation, to go kind of step by step through these points. And then after you've done that part of the work, give us a call and then we can discuss where you're at. Maybe you found the name right away. Sometimes it may take a couple days, a week, before you think, yes, that's the name that I would like to use from now on. First point is to start out by printing out the choices and reading the names, each name in the list to yourself. And saying the names out loud, we find, is quite important, because then you go, oh yeah, I can see myself as Toby or Ross or whatever the names happen to be. The second point is to take your time to think about each of the names on the list. And sometimes we find by people going through the list too quickly, they sort of overlook the right name. So as we said, step one, read those names aloud and think about them. This is a very important process that you're going through into making that selection. Third point is that several of the names can be pronounced one or two different ways. So this can make a difference in whether you feel sort of comfortable with a particular name. And then the fourth step is to take several of the first names and last names that you think you might like and write the names down. And when you write them down, it will give you a new perspective on a possible connection you have to that particular name. Another suggestion that a lot of people have found helpful is to write your choices on a separate piece of paper and put them in an obvious place on your fridge, and so to consider them throughout the day. This is a very important step, and if you think back to when babies are born, parents spend a lot of time trying to come up with the right name that they feel comfortable with. Well, this is your opportunity to pick your new balanced name. So take the time, enjoy the process, and you'll slowly go through it, narrow them down to a few, then to one, and it'll be quite obvious in virtually every case that we come across where people say, yes, that's the name for me. So we encourage you to take the steps to work through your balanced name recommendation, or if you haven't got your balanced name recommendation, we hope this is sort of giving you a little insight in what happens when you go through it. And we know that you will gain so much from the whole process, and you will find truly that if you change your name, you can change your life.